The Detroit Lions had played their first preseason game, which ended in a loss, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the winners and losers of the game with a twist. And I think that's the interesting part because I got some winners for you, I got some losers for you, and then I have some winners turned losers and some losers turned winners. And for sake of the argument, we're calling them winners and losers. I'm not saying they're actual losers. I promise that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they lost out on a great opportunity in this game. So let's start with the winners. Let's start on the positive side because I think this game started on a positive note. And right out the gate, one of the obvious winners was our quarterback. I know what you're thinking. Like, what are you talking about? How is this the best? Jared Goff played really, really well. Jared Goff was 3 for 4. I think he had like 47 yards and no touchdowns. He gave that to Swift, and that's okay. But he was actually 4 for 4. Remember, the fourth one went off a face mask right through the hands of Jamal Williams, which is a unique drop by him. But Jared Goff played well. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on him. He played one series. They scored a touchdown. Therefore, he is a winner. I could say Swift was a winner in the exact same way. But my next winner is when we start to look down the depth chart. Who are the guys that made a move? And one of the guys who made a move on this depth chart was Devin Funches. And here's the thing. I was wrong. I did not like this signing. It didn't make sense to me. And it's kind of weird coming from me, a U of M fan, that I wouldn't like the Funches signing. I just thought he's always been a tweener and he hasn't utilized his size in a way that was really effective in any way, shape, or form and speed. But then all of a sudden you're like, okay, maybe this guy's still got a little game. His body looked like it was in better shape than it ever was when he was in the NFL before. He was looking pretty cut. He looked like he was in good shape. He's hurdling defenders. He's catching touchdowns on mismatches. Like he was a matchup nightmare all across the field. The one thing I didn't see him do, and I'm not saying he didn't do it, but was line up on the line and block. I just didn't see it because, I can't see everything in the game. So, and I haven't rewatched it yet. And that's the question. How big of a fan are you? Do you rewatch preseason games? Like, how much did you miss football? That's the real question. And I think this game I will rewatch because it was a fun game to watch. So that's two winners. I have a third winner for you. And this one is a unique name and a guy that, again, I was wrong. It is Tom Kennedy. Look, I've always liked Tom Kennedy, and he's always been a guy who in the preseason comes out and plays well, and you can't stop him. But you always ask yourself, like, can he actually do this? Like, can he do this in the regular season? He got a little run when we had a lot of injuries last year during the regular season. But I just figured Tom Kennedy would play well because he always plays well in the preseason. I didn't know he'd play 8 catches for 104 yards well. He did have one drop, which was a struggle, but he once again is showing like, hey, I'm really good at doing what I do. And he was even catching balls from the outside. Usually he's primarily solely in the slot. So seeing him on the outside was interesting. I think Pimpleton could be another guy to look for on that because he also brings a little more of a special teams vibe if they like him as a return man. Okay, so now for the losers on this one, and this is interesting, but I have two of them, and they are Jamar Jefferson. And Jamar Jefferson was in the game as the fourth running back, but he was also the leading back in this game. He had 9 carries for 19 yards. Now, some of that is due to just the fact that there wasn't a lot of running room, but there were two runs, one next to the end zone in particular. Even Devin Gardner, who, by the way, I thought did a great job with the announcing. I didn't expect that because I see him on the sidelines for the Pistons every once in a while and things like that, and he's stumbling over words. This isn't about Devin Gardner. Anyways, Jamar Jefferson, there was a hole, and I don't want to sound like cut it outside guy. We all know that guy. We all know cut it outside guy. When you're watching a game and the outside is clearly not there, and a guy who never watches football, oh, he should have cut it outside. Cut it outside guy. Don't be cut it outside guy. This is just a friendly service announcement, a PSA, if you will, for you not to be cut it outside guy. But he absolutely should have cut it outside. It was wide open to the pylon for a touchdown, and he cut it back up off the tackle. It didn't make a lot of sense what he did, and he only got about a yard out of it. And it felt like that was a lot of what he did. He was coming off where Craig Reynolds was. Craig Reynolds was running violent, picking the holes the right way. And then Jamar Jefferson came in and it was just a not as good version of it. So I don't know if Jamar Jefferson really did anything for himself. And I think that somebody else gets the bulk of the carries in the next game because he didn't prove it and they'll have a chance to. My other loser was Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle, the numbers are kind of what the numbers are for him. He was 9 of 16 for 111 yards, a touchdown, but also the interception. And it wasn't the interception. The interception was bad. Don't get me wrong. But that was the third time he did that exact same thing, where you have a player on an out route or coming across the middle of the field, and he just straight throws it behind him. His accuracy is just not there. He made 2 or 3 unbelievable throws that David Blau could never make. But then he made really bad throws too. And one of those turned into an interception, and the other ones were drive stallers. And it's hard to watch because you see him, you see the arm talent, and he just isn't accurate. He just isn't accurate. So 9 for 16 is about what you'd expect, but the interception. Now, here's where we're going to get unique. Those are my winners. Those are my losers. There's more names I could talk about. Don't get me wrong. But this is where it gets unique. Who were the guys who were losers, then winners, and then a winner, then loser? So let's talk about a loser, then winner. And my loser, then winner was Jared Davis. So he came in. I'm like, well, Jared Davis is being Jared Davis. And this was in the second quarter, I believe it was. Bobby Price gets an interception and everybody's excited. The whole team's running. They're posing for the camera at the end zone. Meanwhile, while everybody's posing in the end zone, the official is calling a roughing the passer on Jared Davis. Great. Good job, man. And here's the thing. It was kind of a rough call because he got pushed into him, but he was there and he was being overly aggressive to the quarterback. It's like there was like 3 steps. It wasn't bang, bang. It was obvious. It was a long time in between. So that was frustrating. And then there was another time where he almost looked like he was spying, even though we didn't do much spying on Desmond Ridder. And Desmond Ridder he took a horrible angle. Desmond Ridder ran right around him because Jared Davis took a horrible angle, underestimated his speed. And it's just like Jared Davis in space. But then in the second half, he came out and in the third quarter, he was all over the field, as he should be, right? He should dominate second and third string guys. But he was all over the field. He was good in coverage. He didn't look lost. He had a tip ball. And it wasn't even a receiver that he was covering. He was kind of just covering a zone area and he got a tip ball, which is great. As he was concentrating on the man in front of him, he was able to get a hand on it. There were a lot of quick tackles after the catch where he didn't allow any yards. And it's not like he was getting beat man coverage in that because there was a lot of zone being played as well. And I think they went to a lot of zone because Ridder was just running all over the place. But anyways, that is my loser turned winner, or at least medium. How about my winner turned loser? This guy came in the game, put up awesome numbers. It drove us down the field, was looking good, making all the throws that Tim Boyle wasn't. He had the timing down. He was leading receivers well, mostly Tom Kennedy, but he got a few to Pimpleton. And I mean, he was throwing guys open. Guys were getting a little separation. He was creating even more with his throws. And that is David Blau. Drives down the field, gets a touchdown. He's doing well. He has a big throw on a third down to keep the drive going to try and kill the remainder of the clock in the fourth quarter on a 4-minute offense. And then, oh no, the big bonehead play, right? The snap comes right here, right to him. And he drops it. And it's a fumble. Ball's turned over. And you know the rest of the story. The Falcons end up winning. The Lions lose, all because of that play that allowed them to get back into it. So while David Blau had by far the better game than Tim Boyle, and I will argue that he had by far the better game, his mistake came at a more costly time than Boyle's mistake. So he was a winner, and we're going in and I'm saying to myself, he's the clear number 2 based on this, and he will earn number 2 reps next preseason game. The question is, will that fumble cost him the opportunity? Because he needed to be perfect, and he needed to be his what's the word I want to call it? His margin of error is much smaller than Tim Boyle's just because he doesn't have the same skill set as Tim Boyle, and he was playing well. until the big oops. So that's my winner turn loser. Overall, I thought we had some guys that balled out. I think the depth chart and the talent of this team has shown to be, especially on the offensive end, is miles ahead of where it was last year. Basically, every unit moved the ball pretty well, and scoring 23 points, I think it was what we scored, proved that to be true. So in a preseason game, at least. And so I thought the ball moved well, not a lot of punts, things like that. So excited about this team, but there were some guys that made the most of their time, and there were some guys that squandered it a little bit. Tell me who you think. Did I miss a big winner? Did I miss a big loser? I mean, I'm sure there's more, but I didn't want to talk for 30 minutes. So, I think there's more to go on that. So leave those comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. We would love to have you as part of this Sports Talk Detroit community, where we talk Lions and Pistons, and we will see you on the